How's things been? Who are we delving into today? First of all,
We're delving into Trump. We're going to have a quick look at TikTok, and then I've got all sorts of things that with the Meghan Markle person, and really those are the main ones.
yeah.
And of course Musk. I had a look at
Right,
Musk.
yeah. Well, for me, obviously, I did quite a lot of reporting on Meghan Markle,
Oh,
and
you did the Royal Show.
yeah, for a while actually, it
Mm.
was pretty much the dominant side of the content that I was making here,
Oh,
and yeah, I would. I mean, if we can choose where we jump in, I'd
yeah.
love to.
What would you like? Would you like
Yeah,
Meghan Markle first?
yeah. Please, I'm going to sneeze as well. So
Oh,
give me 1 second.
bless you. Bless you. Okay, so this is part of the transmission and the psychic download, as well as I did a little bit of remote viewing on her and her situation, her family, etc. And then I needed to go back to provide content and context with what I was seeing, because I'd seen a couple of very strange things and I thought, oh, that doesn't sound right to me. So I went back and had a look on the timeline as well. And I looked particularly at Thomas Markle Sr. And that was quite an interesting deep dive into him, because when I had a look, I found he's got reduced energy, and his health has reduced his energy a lot, which means that he appears to be transitioning or moving into a totally different way forward. So and also when I looked there at him, there was also a lot of statements where I saw Thomas with sitting at the table. Meghan Markle was really young and she was at college. And then I saw him sitting at the dining room table, and he was like looking through his bills and looking at like the water and the electric and his bank statement and all of that. And he was looking through to see what could he stop paying, like a subscription or something specific. What could he stop paying in order so that he could pay the college fees for Meghan, and he could pay what he needed to pay, which I thought that was quite sad. As parents, I think we all do that. We all give the best to our children, and if we've got to sacrifice things for ourselves and not have stuff, then we do that. So he was doing that. So that was when I looked into him particularly. But when I started looking further forward, I saw that Meghan was pushing this victim narrative. But the interesting thing from that was when I looked into her energies and her frequencies around her, there's absolutely nothing at the moment based on her energy body as it is right now, as of the 19th of January. There's nothing in her energy body right now that shows that she could overturn or change what has been created. So the situation that she finds herself in is of her own creation. Also, it does show that her soul path, because she was given a soul path and she was given something that she needed to do when she was here. Now, she hasn't adhered to that. The pursuit of money and further fame, that is going to end in tears. And the way that she can change that energy is to reboot the Meghan Markle person and the new Meghan Markle energy. And the only way to do that is through a new marriage. So, yeah, I know. Oh, dear. So from that point of view, I then looked at Prince Harry and his energies. But then I also, because I did a lot of looking into other cases with Prince Andrew, I had recollection of his energies. And what was quite interesting is the Prince Harry's energies were on this side, and then the Prince Andrew's energies were on this side. And when you put the two together, they're both pretty much in the same category. They don't have a lot of luck, firstly, and secondly, they can't distinguish. They don't have that inner compass where you can distinguish between, is this person over here, he's necessarily coming from a good space, a good energy. neither of them have that ability or that inner intuition to be able to understand where this person is coming from that might be standing in front of them. And they're both exactly the same on that score. As far as their psychic intelligence or their ability to grasp the energies and the frequencies coming off a person in front of them, they're both really not that good. They're not able to see accurately what that person has got in front of them. So it's quite sad really for him, because I think he was really hoping that things would be different. And I think because they were given, when I had a look back again, I looked back at what was happening in the palace at the time. And when I popped in there, the late Queen was suggesting to the Meghan Markle person that she should reach out to her father because he's poorly, and the wedding was coming up. That was obviously in the past. Wedding was coming up. She was very sweet. She said, he's your dad, he's your father, he's not well. I suggested you reach out to him. And Meghan, in what I saw, she just oh, you don't understand, I think, under her breath. And she decided that she wasn't going to take that advice and flounced out the room. So that was one. So she shook her father off, basically. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So Meghan was never ignored, though, because when I saw what was happening in those areas, in the palace and with them, they had a huge opportunity at the time, a very big opportunity to become, the secondary shining couple. They could have been, a mixed couple that was a huge success story. And really, from what I'd seen, particularly, I felt sorry for the late Queen, because when she had suggested to Meghan to reach out to her father, she said it in such a kind way. And, she as herself felt, this is your father, and you spent so much time with him, just reach out to him and try to make things right. And I could see that energy in the late Queen in her own sort of like nana granny ways, ever so cutesy, bless her. And then Meghan obviously they were given a private secretary for 18 months. They were given these ideas of a new blueprint for a royal couple, which is very far away from the couple that we see now. That obviously the prince remains royal because he was born royal. But the issue here with the Meghan Markle energy is very much a case of money, further fame, grab, and a little bit on the narcissistic side. I don't know what
a little bit on the narcissistic side. I mean, I'll be honest. The stuff that I've witnessed from Meghan Markle over the last couple of years has been eye-opening, because I was on one side of the fence until I started reporting on these two, and Vanity Fair turning around and putting a headline up called "American Hustle" to describe the two of them is a massive kick in the teeth. Big shout out Paula M as well. She put this up on Twitter. And anybody who's watching knows the amount of madness that Paula's gone through when she's spoken about the American hustle and these two. It's all sort of coming to fruition, shall we say. But what's interesting is we always had, poked fun at these two. And one of the big things was, when will she, go and find herself a billionaire? Because the only way up.
Oh, that's in here as well. I've got it in there. I've got her. She's stalking a couple of billionaires. That's the new marriage I picked up, the reboot. She has to have a new marriage. And she has to be Meghan Part 4 or whatever it is. And it has to be a billionaire, because it can't, another prince from another family or royal family won't touch her with a 10-foot barge pole.
Well, but I would be doing our royal fans an injustice if I didn't ask you this, okay?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any rules about this, but I don't know if you know the mythology behind the children of Harry and Meghan, right? Like,
I do a bit about it, because what I did.
When was the last time? When was the last time you seen a photo of them that wasn't an unconscious child being held by a mother with the back of their head shown? When was the last time we seen any photos of these kids? You haven't, right? And
No.
it's a bit of a joke a couple of years ago, bit of a ha. Oh, where are the kids? Where are the kids? But then month after show after show after show goes on, still no kids. And I've seen some really, really, really weird footage, Beverly, of like Meghan walking down a country road, right? For a start, what are you doing, Meghan? Right? So she's got her 2 security guards and she's got a baby strapped to her chest. And I'm telling you now, it
Wow.
looks like a doll in a carrier that has been wired to her body, right? And this is all allegedly, but there's always been this huge, where are the children? Like almost to the point where I was going to fly over to America and knock on the door and be like, hiya, just a concerned citizen from the monarchy here. Just want to do a welfare check on the kids. Others, Azria, how you doing, Azria? Because it, and then again, you know yourself, right? Like when you have a baby, you shouldn't be able to stand with your knees almost like together and bend your knees and go up and down in a set of high heels.
Yeah, there's no way you could do that after having a baby. Oh my goodness, it's just way too much.
There's all of these suspicious images that look like there's one of these Hollywood prosthetic bumps going on. I'm telling you, Beverly, I have done probably 100 hours of content in 2 years just on where are the kids, right? Where are they?
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I just looked at I looked at her specifically because there's a lot of her energies are like all over the place. And that's why I said there's nothing that can save her now specifically.
Yeah, oh no, 100%. Stuck in a web of her own doing.
That I've got here, this is that she's a wannabe and that the frequencies she felt that she was royal. But then I've got popping spikes is what I've got in my notes. And that there's the interesting thing there is that there's no more secrets. And that's a key thing here is that when she went to pick up her frozen eggs, because that is documented, documented. I think that at some point, because of the succession and the line of succession, whatever happened, the couple are going to have to provide evidence and spill the tea. They're just going to have to do it because it's just too much. There's too much at stake for the kiddies, really, not so much for them, but for the children.
It's interesting that you say she's a wannabe, okay? Because I'm going to throw some more. I'm just going to chuck some facts to back all this up, right? Because Beverly, when you've never had a podcast in your life and Spotify call you up and go, all right, Meghan, we're going to give you $30 million. All you've got to do is make sense for 1 hour a week, okay?
Oh, wow.
And the whole project plateaus. And I mean, some people have been, I'm telling you, there was a bunch of people fired at Spotify over her podcast. And then she goes to another platform and she just can't do it. She just can't do it. So the wannabe factor is 100% there. And
yeah, and I can actually add a bit to that because when I popped in to have a look at that, it was, I say wannabe because she kind of thought that she would parachute in and that she would usurp the two that are in line, in the succession line, and that she would somehow be able to engineer it so that she could become sort of the next queen, if you like. And that's what I saw, which is why there was this popping of the energies and this happening, and that's what I thought. But that's like a wannabe. How silly. Yeah, well, that's being a silly sausage thinking that.
Beverly, listen, we put it all together. All she needs to do is get the the king and the queen and William and Catherine and all their children on a plane or a boat, and an act of God was to happen, right? And then Harry, with the grief, can't take it anymore. Queen Meghan. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's how simple the planet is. Okay, and the joke's always been that for me. But here's the thing, right? Do you think? Because I've always said the most powerful Meghan Markle is Meghan the widow, right? If Meghan became a widow, she will take her final form. She will have control over those kids. She will have all the power. I'm just saying. So for me, I just think she's a bit sneaky. I haven't seen the
Yeah, I
kids.
think it goes a bit more than sneaky because, you know, when I looked at her, she had tink, 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 all these wee little spikes all over the place. But she did have a lot of sort of holes and tears in the frequency and the energy body. So there is, she does, in a way, that's why I think, in my view, I think she's able to pull off the whole, you know, I'm a victim type thing quite easily, because she draws upon whatever this hurt that she had from years ago. I think she's pulling on that hurt, and that's how she can pull off this whole victim side of things. But I think when she realized that she wasn't